Hi, welcome you to A Shot of Joe. I'm Joe Nunziata, and today I'm going to talk to you about how your energy system works and how this energy system is creating everything in your life on a minute-by-minute basis. So I want to go through these principles so you have a good understanding of what's going on and why things seem to be happening to you, or are they really happening to you? What's really going on and how do these things work? So for many years I went out and I struggled, and in my belief system what I learned, which is what most of us did learn, was that if you want to do something or you want to achieve something, you have to take certain action. You have to do certain things. Now, I don't want to sit here and say you don't have to do anything, and I don't want to sit here and say you don't have to take any action, but in our society, we really believe that it's all about going out and doing something. I have to do this, I have to take step 1, step 2, step 3, and these are the things that we have to do to be successful. So I was not really great in school. I didn't like school, but after high school I went to work right away, and I went out and I got a lot of books on being successful, goal setting, the right mindset, the millionaire mindset. I went out and bought all this stuff, and I read everything, and I took notes, and I set my goals, did it all, did everything you could imagine, did affirmations, looked in the mirror, positive attitude. I read all these books, I did all these different things, and after many years I really didn't make a lot of progress, and it was very frustrating for me because I didn't understand what was going on. I was working hard, I was putting in a lot of effort and energy, I was getting up every day, I was doing my thing, I was reading every day, I was really following all these processes over and over again and really doing a tremendous amount of work. Now that may sound familiar to you, where you say, wow, I'm doing everything. And people come to me all the time and they say, Joe, you know, I'm out there, I'm doing everything, I'm working really hard, I'm putting in a lot of hours, I'm putting in a lot of effort, I'm trying to have a positive attitude, I'm doing affirmations in the morning, I'm hearing this stuff all week, and I did all this. And I don't want to say that that's a bad thing to do, because it isn't a bad thing to do, but it is not the answer to all your issues. It's not the answer to your problems. So after years of frustration and going through 2 different bankruptcies, 2 business bankruptcies by the time I was 30 years old, I decided it was time for me to figure it out. What am I doing wrong? What's going on? And what's happening? And of course, my first step was to go right here into my brain. I wanted to go right into my brain, and I wanted to start figuring it out. Think about it. What am I doing wrong? Because my first thought was, I must be doing something wrong. You may be having that thought as well. What am I doing wrong? And of course, this is a condition that we have, that we've learned to say, well, if it's not right and I'm doing work and I'm doing everything, I must be doing something wrong. There must be something that I'm not doing right if this is what's happening over and over and over again. So this is what I did, and I drove myself insane. So finally, after years of struggle and hitting my head against the wall, which is really what I felt like I was doing, I went out and I started to learn a little bit more about myself, starting with actually going to therapy and then getting a little bit of a clearer way to look at the world, which led me into energy work and metaphysical work and meditation and spiritual work. So as I started to do that, I started to learn more about my energy. I started to learn more about how I was feeling. I started to learn more about my belief system. And these were the things that were actually critically important for me to make the changes that I wanted to make. So it wasn't necessarily about what I was doing, it was about what I was feeling. Now I have to tell you, for me, this was a really dramatic shock. And the reason it was a dramatic shock, I'm originally from New York, hardworking, driving forward, you know, New York with that bull in a china shop kind of mentality that we have there. And I went out and drove myself crazy. And when you sit there and say to me, well, what you're doing is not that big of a deal, it's really what you feel and what you believe that's the key to success. It really kind of gave me pause, but it upset me. But as I started to look at people I knew, and as I started to look around, I said, wow, there's a lot of people I know that are very successful. They don't work that hard. They're not that smart. They didn't read all the books that I read. They didn't do all this work. How come they're successful? And I saw it one after the other after the other. Now again, I'm not saying you don't have to put in energy and effort and put in work, but there were a lot of people who I saw who did a lot less than me and who were a lot more successful. And it made me upset. I have to tell you, it made me upset. But I started to understand that they had a different feeling than I did. They had a different energy than I did. They were not approaching life in the same way. And I started to learn about my energy field and what my energy was creating, which is why I was struggling. And in my energy field, I was creating and putting out energy that was negative. And because I was doing that, I was creating negative results. So what I want to do here in this session is talk a little bit about where your energy field, that creation of the energy field came from, and your beliefs and your feelings. So these things all came from your home and how you grew up. So you grew up in a certain energy, and you grew up in a certain role in your family, and you grew up with certain expectations. These are all the things that create this energy that we're talking about, this feeling that I'm talking about. So as you grow up and you absorb all this energy as a child, and you're absorbing it from the moment you are conceived, because your energy system starts the minute you're conceived, not even born. So think about the 9 months prior to you getting here, and you know your parents and you know your situation. What do you think that was like? Do you think it was calm? Do you think it was wonderful? Do you think it was peaceful? Do you think it was happy? Or do you think it was upsetting? Do you think maybe people got divorced, maybe your parents weren't together, maybe there was fighting, maybe there was financial problems? You absorb all this energy. And then when you get here for the first 8 years of your life, you're developing what's called your chakra energy system. And chakra is a Sanskrit ancient Indian word that means spiral. And you're holding energy at points in your body. And that energy that you're holding within yourself is what's vibrating out and creating, in effect, your energy field or your energy system. And that energy goes out into the world at a certain level of vibration and frequency. And as it goes out into the world, it starts to bring things in based on the vibration and energy frequency that you're sending out. Now, I will tell you, this was hard for me because as a person who was very mental, who believed that if I set my mind to something, I could do it, the idea that that was not true was a big issue for me. Now, again, when I share this work and this information, I'm not here to tell you what's true and what's not true. I'm just telling you what I learned and what I experienced. And what I saw made a big difference. And I had been in my head forever, and I had pages of notes and all kinds of goals and all kinds of things that I was trying to do, and nothing ever worked. And that's what gave me the openness to accept that my way was not potentially the right way, which it wasn't. And as I started to understand what was going on and look outside at what I was bringing in and the kind of situations that I kept repeating over and over again, then I realized that something's going on within me that is creating this vibration of energy, that is creating this result or this pattern or this cycle over and over and over again. So the first thing you want to be able to do is really look at a couple of different things. So the first step for me that I like to look at when I work with somebody is really look at your life right now and say to yourself, what does my life look like right now? What do I have in my life that I like? So it's almost like you make a good list and you make a bad list. This is what I like. This is the stuff that I brought in. These are the people that I brought in. This is the part of my life that I'm happy about. This is the part of my life that I'm not happy about. Or these are the areas that I want to change. You don't have to even be unhappy about it, but just say, wow, these are the changes I want to make. So you look at it and you look at your life right now. Now, once you do that, you look at yourself. And what I want you to do is kind of say, how do I feel about these things that I'm really happy about? And how do I feel about these things that I'm not so happy about? And what that will do is help you understand what you're feeling about these things. And you'll notice that you have a good feeling about the things you're happy about. You'll say, wow, when I think about a certain person, maybe it's your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, you say, wow, I really have a great feeling when I think about that. And then maybe when you think about work, or when you think about money, or when you think about your career, or when you think about your health, you start to say, wow, I don't have a good feeling about that. And think about how you feel about yourself. So not only how do you feel about yourself in that area? Do you feel like, wow, I'm a failure, I'm struggling? That's how I felt going through 2 bankruptcies. I felt like I was struggling, I felt like I was failing, I felt like I was doing a terrible job. But I never admitted it because I didn't know that I had to go there. All I knew was to say, well, that didn't work, I'll try something else. That didn't work, I'll try something else. Whatever I did wrong, I'll fix it, I'll do it again. But I really had to look within myself and say, how do I feel personally about the level of success or my career right now? And what that will do is that will help you get in touch with the feeling that's blocking you from going forward. So that is the first phase of the journey. The second thing I want you to do, give you a little homework here. I said this channel is about not just giving information, but I want to give you tools, things that you can use to make changes. So the second thing you want to do is kind of look at the repetitious cycles that have been coming up in your life. Now, generally speaking, we usually have certain areas that cause us trouble. So you may say, well, I always have a problem with my health. I always have a problem with my career. I always have a problem with money. I always have a problem with my relationships. But go back in your life and look at those things and say, wow, I notice I keep creating the same thing. So what's happening is because you have an issue in that area, you're sending out energy that keeps recreating that issue over and over again because you haven't dealt with the emotion that's driving that energy forward. It's not your fault. You didn't learn this stuff. We didn't learn this in school. Most of us didn't learn this at home. I know I didn't. So you have to relearn it. It's almost like giving yourself the ability to look at the world in a different way and look at yourself in a different way. And as you do that, you'll be able to start to see, you elevate your awareness and you're able to start to see why you're creating certain things in your life, why your energy field is going out there in a certain way. Your energy field is going out there every day creating. The more you understand it, the easier it will be for you to make adjustments. So really be aware of how you feel all day. Look at what you're creating, look at what you've created in the past, and look for the patterns, and this will help you make great positive steps in your life. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. I look forward to seeing you again soon.